Vážení priatelia, milí hostia, nikoho z vás nevidím, ale sme aspoň dobre nasvietení na kamery. Dovolte, aby som dnes privítal medzi nami Sophie Kaplan. So Sophie Kaplan sa poznám prostredníctvom IKT. IKT je taká organizácia, ktorá združuje kurátorov súčasného umenia. So Sophie sme sa vlastne stretli na kongrese, ktorý IKT organizovalo tohto roku v apríli vo Viedni, Budapešti a Bratislave. Podarilo sa nám vlastne zavolať Sophie, aby sa do Bratislavy vrátila a prichádza vlastne nielen dnes na túto prednášku do Kunsthalle Klubu, ale našim študentom na kurátorských štúdiách bude zajtra prednášať špeciálnu súkromnú prednášku a takisto vlastne sa nám podarilo už spustiť nový program, ktorý sa volá Mikrorezidencie, kedy sa snažíme vlastne týchto hostí, ktorí k nám prichádzajú v stredu do klubu, vo štvrtok na kurátorské štúdia, pár dní pozdržať, aby mohli navštíviť niektoré bratislavské galérie, ateliéry. To znamená, že už vlastne dneska sme mali možnosť zo Sophie ísť do Brna na návštevu ateliéru monogramistu TD a teraz vlastne si ona vybrala niekoľkých ďalších umelcov, ktorých diela by chcela bližšie spoznať, galérie, ktoré by chcela navštíviť. To znamená, že keď ste tu niektorí umelci, ktorí by ste možno s ňou chceli aj prehovoriť, tak vás pozývame ku prednáške. Možno sa dohodnúť, že kedy by sa mohla vaša prezentácia uskutočniť, alebo môžete sa k nám pridať na večeru. Ja by som povedal pár krátkych slov o Sophie Kaplan. Je riaditeľkou Centra súčasného umenia Lakrie od septembra roku 2012. Presne rok na to založila trojročný program, ktorého názvy jednotlivých fáz pochádzajú z kníh francúzskeho matematika a básnika Raymonda Queneau. Vo svojej prednáške vysvetlí, ako tento program vznikol a prečo sa skladá zo série príbehov, ktoré spoločne vytvárajú jednotlivé výstavy a sprievodné podujatia. Taktiež bude reč o koncepte tzv. Pridružených umelcov, ktorý rozvíja od svojho nástupu do inštitúcie s cieľom byť čo najbližšie kreatívnemu procesu. Riaditeľka Centra súčasného umenia sa tiež zmieni o mieste inštitúcie z geografického či politického hľadiska, ako aj o dôležitosti transmisie umeleckého a kultúrneho programu v samotnej budove. Ďakujem vám veľmi pekne, že ste prišli. Ja by som teraz rád odovzdal slovo Sophie Kaplan. Thank you very much, Sophie, for coming. Now it's your turn.
Okay, hello everybody. Thank you for being there. I want to thank Juraj Karni and Nina Rabonova and as a Kunsthalle team for the invitation. I'm very glad to be there. That's true. I'm Sophie Kaplan. I am director of Lakrie, an art center located in the west of France, in Brittany. And during the time that we will have together, I propose to share with you tonight some of my main focuses as curator or director of an institution, IDEST, the desire to build a program as a tale, IDEST, to tell art to people. Then the will to put the artist, his work, his thoughts, the context in which he is working, in the very center of the art center. And also the desire to mix different fields of contemporary creation and knowledge. So, just to let you know, because from time to time we are curious, where do I come from? I studied French literature and art history. It means that I have no training in curating. And then I made my first experiences at Fondation Cartier and at Galerie du Jeu de Paume in Paris. Then I got a position at the École des Beaux-Arts in Paris, first in charge, then head of the exhibition, until 2006. There it was a very important experience for me because I had the chance to work with several senior curators And to do so, I had the chance to observe different ways of curating. For example, I had the chance to work with Alfred Kaplan, which was the previous director of Centre Pompidou in Paris, which Henri Mary Hughes, who was the previous president of ICA, with Christian Bernard, the director of the MAMCO, with Maria Corral, etc., etc. And of course, I also had the chance to meet and work with a lot of young artists and also great professor artists. During those time, I also made some freelance curating, and then in 2007, I became director of Crac Alsace, which is an art center located in an old gymnasium from the German period in Altkirch. Altkirch is a small village located in the far east of the France, in the charming picturesque Alsace, but very close to Basel, Switzerland. It means that in a way that was like a challenge, because it was in the same moment an art center quite in the middle of nowhere, but not very far, very close to one of the centers of the world of art, or art market, with the Basel Art Fair once a year. So from that first experience as the director of an institution, I will not develop it here, but what I have experiences is the importance of the location. And I have the feeling that you may not do the same program in a small town lost in the countryside, in the very center of a big metropolis, or in the suburb of it. For example, when I was in Altkirch, I have developed an exhibition in collaboration with an art center in Switzerland, dealing about the question of folklore. I'm not sure folk art and related to contemporary art, because of course it was meaningful to ask that question in that special location. There I was also touching and trying to break the idea that contemporary art is not only for an elite. And I also first experiences the idea to mix contemporary art with other fields of creation, like music, literature, and so and so. And then, since 2012, I am director of La Criée in Rennes, and then there I try to experiences the wish that I could turn the art center into a place where art is told. There are lots of people or books who have influenced me in doing so. I can give you some references. I think it's important. I have written it to you because my accent is not so good, and also if you French name, if you need to notice it. And for example, my experiences in curating and my thoughts in that way is directly inspired by the works of and the exhibition of some artists like Philippe Parreno, and exhibitions I've seen in 2002 in the Musée d'Art Moderne de la Ville de Paris called Alien Season. And this exhibition was really to experience like there was a beginning, there was an end, and it was also a loop, but it was really telling a story. And it was playing, and from time to time we didn't know if the works were really part of the museum, like for example the furniture of the museum, or were works of art. It was something that was very important to me, and more recently it has been confirmed by the main exhibition of Pierre Huyghe, this is an international touring show, but it was on view at Centre Pompidou this year, last spring. And it was also something that was playing with the story of the exhibition in itself and with the story of the works, and it is with lots of layers, and that's something that I am interested in. And I wish to share with you these sentences of Philippe Barényi that is like a clue for me. He say, telling about this exhibition Alien Season, on serait comme des passagers traversant des effets de réalité. It means we will be like passengers through reality effects. I am also very influenced by the works of Robert Filiou, with his bien fait, pas fait, mal fait, well done, poorly done, not done. It is a conception of art, it can be also a conception of exhibition. And by one of his famous sentences, art is making life more interesting than art. Someone who also really influenced me is Jérémy Deller, the English artist. It's important to me to say that maybe I am first influenced by artists than by art historian or other curators. But of course I'm also influenced by writers. For example, I take main of my inspiration from the Argentinian writer Jorge Luis Borges. Borges has a very important influence for the nowadays artist, but I think, of course, for the nowadays curator, and also by the Italian writer Italo Calvino. I often work with them when building an exhibition. And I am also influenced by some philosophers, writers, artists, and art critics who based their writing on narrative structures. For example, one very little book who was very important to me was the one of the French philosopher Gilles Tibérien, which is a specialist of land arts, and he has written like a kind of diary named Land Art Traveling, and I very much like this kind of writing. It was again a way of entering in the works. He has written this book after a travel he has made in America, visiting main important places for land art like Spiragenti and so and so. And in his writing, he is not only giving like aesthetical, theoretical clues, but also is just very simply telling about his experiences, how he's feeling with the art he was discovering. And also the work of the writer and art critic Claire Bézinga. And as well, I can give you the name of Francesco Manacorda, an Italian curator who used to be curator at the Barbican at Gallery, and now is senior curator at Tate Liverpool. And just want to share with you one exhibition he made in 2008. The title was Martian Museum of Terrestrial Art, and just giving you the purpose of the exhibition. The idea that anthropologists from outer space set out on a mission to understand life on Earth. Imagine that they are beginning their mission by examining the curious phenomenon that human beings call contemporary art. What does art tell them about human life and cultures? That was the focus of the exhibition, gathering more than 100 works of art by more than 50 artists, I guess. From like recognized artists to young stars. Okay, that was about my some name and influence. Okay. Before to go on with the career, I want just to tell you a little story about my first storytelling. It is my first real experience as a curator. It was a project called Strange Fiction Stories that I've made in 2006 or 7, I don't remember. I made that in 3 locations, 3 places in Germany. I can give you the book I made for that occasion to let you know a little bit more. This exhibition was gathering 8 or 9 young French and German artists. For example, Raphael Zarka, Morgan Schimber, Stefan Tidé, Katharina Zimke. And those artists were working in various media, but all the works had in common a fictional dimension. And the main stage, the main step of this 3-place project took place in a castle, Schloss Agatenburg, in the little city of Agatenburg, not far away from Hamburg, in an old castle. And this castle was the starting point and the support of the fiction or of the exhibition. And for this project, we have also with the artist made a catalogue, which was there was 2 texts in the catalogue written by myself. One was a kind of classical, critical one, but the other one was a fictional one. And the story was taking place into the castle, the Schloss, and it was like 2 people were inviting in the castle for the night, and there was a collection of works of contemporary art in this castle. And during the night, it happened that some object or some part or some figures of the works of art moved from one works to another, but it was like we don't know, and we will never know if it was real, for real, or a dream. And also in the same idea to mix critique and fiction, and to mix different steps of the process of art. I asked the artist to give me for the catalogue some archive or some drawings of some whatever they want, asking them to give that to me. The idea was these images should be clue to understand their works. So the first part of the catalogue is black and white images that the artist gave to me. And then at the end of the catalogue, you as a classical catalogue, you can find the reproduction of the works. So that was that's one of my first experiences as a curator, and it is important to me because preparing that conference, I realized that it has been maybe almost 10 years ago, but I am always in that mood, and the same question, or the question of course, but this idea of mixing critique and fiction is always central to me. And so that's something that I have tried to experience in La Criée, when I am working now. I'm I'm showing you some view from La Criée. Okay. La Criée is located in the really center of the city of Rennes, which is like a little metropole with lots of students, and the art center is located in the market. And the name La Criée, it is an old part of the market closed, and La Criée, it was the old fish market. So I like also this idea that the art center have had a previous life. And so in Rennes, I am also trying to go further with that idea to tell story to the audience with what we can call for the moment the Rennes trilogy, because since 2013 I have implemented a 3-year program named Courir les rues, battre la campagne, fendre les flots. In English this is Running the Street, it was the first year. Beating the Bushes, it was last year, and now we are in Breaking the Waves. These titles are under the patronage of the French poet Raymond Queneau, as these are titles from 3 books of him. So what does it mean to be under the patronage of Raymond Queneau? Raymond Queneau was a poet and writer, so you can see my tribute to storytelling is yet clearly shown. And Raymond Queneau is, you may know it, is also the founder of L'Oulipo. L'Oulipo is a loose gathering of mainly French-speaking writers and mathematicians who seek to create works using constrained writing technique. It was founded at the very beginning of the 60s by Raymond Queneau with François Le Lyonnais, and other important members include novelist Georges Perec and Italo Calvino, poets Oscar Pasteur, Jean Lescure, and poet and mathematician Jacques Roubaud. The group defines the term littérature potentielle, because l'Oulipo means ouvroir de littérature potentielle, as a translation, the seeking of a new structures and patterns which may be used by writers in any way they enjoy. So I like this tribute to l'Oulipo because related to my curatorial program, it is the idea that in the field of contemporary creation, storytelling is really related to experimentation. It's also a way to say that our program as an art center is of course not always but very often experimental. And also Raymond Queneau was a mathematician, a very famous one. So for me it is important also because it is telling something about the function of different fields of knowledge. I also accompanying this programmation. We are making a theory of free publication. I will also show you some. That we have called les cailloux de la Criée. It means stones. Stones. It is like the idea is also to make junctions between art and writers and philosophers, other artists, and so on and so. And we published each caillou at 500 copies, and the half of it is to be taken for free by the visitor when they come. That's also something important to me, that idea that you can get something from that experience that we are in process. And also the graphic designer of the graphic design of La Criée, but also from the Caillou, is Jocelyn Cotensin from the Studio Le Commun, and this is not by hazard that is Jocelyn Cotensin is also an artist. So he's graphic designer and artist, and he's also working in lots of fields. For example, he's very related to he's working very closely with lots of choreographers. So again, he's not to be like only an artist, and I don't like the idea that you should choose between to be a writer or an artist. If you want to choose, okay, but you're not obliged to. And I will go further to give you some examples of exhibition we have done in the last 2 years. But what I will want to share with you also is to continue that idea of the program as a tale, or to tell art. I want to, in the coming year, I may want to continue to develop that idea, and I have the wish to go further in that exploration of the narrative dimension of art. For example, by inviting artists for whom writing is one essential component of the works. Also by inviting writers or singers using visual form or concept, or by initiating series of lecture around the idea of the exhibition details. Also, that was about storytelling. And as I told you at the beginning in my introduction, one other thing which is very important to me as a curator is the necessity to give to the artist a really central place. It means how I am trying. It seems to be like like an evidence, but my idea is to really deeply accompany with the artist. As well in the production of the works and exhibition, but also by giving them lots of time, the more time that I can, and a role in the process of programming. It means that every year, La Criée associates an artist with all these projects. Working together this way means a sharper focus on art, and generates a new kind of long-term partnership with the artist, and a really close link with the creative process, not only to me, of course, but also to the public that can feel that, because we have like an associate artist, and it coming in very regularly during all the program, all the year. And is working also with some part of the audience through like mediation or transmission project or pedagogical project and lots of other things. As associate artist, the artist has of course a solo show, and there we try to do an important and new production. From these 3 years, he or she has been co-curator of a collective show, taking for starting point a mix between the theme of the cultural season on one of its main interests, and also as we organize some events, he can propose and program himself some events. And so in doing so, I have the feeling that we're able to discover what fits the artist in various fields, art, literature, science, and to let them the possibility to make all this influence visible in the art center, as well as to improve them by inviting people they are interested in. And also, this is a way to me to say that my position as a curator is the main things is maybe not to say what I have to say, but is to say what the artists have to say. Also it gives me the possibility to do that, it gives me and La Criée and the agents at La Criée possibility to figure out what can be the long-term work, and to really go deeply in the process of the creation. And it is a way for me to care for the artist. And I will show you some results. So, for the Courir les Rues Running the Street season, our associate artist was Jan Kopp, and this is the exhibition he has made, the production. The art center is the one main room, 250 quadratmeters, and he has built this kind of grand ensemble. And the idea was for that he asked people, and we find in the city of Rennes all that sticks. It was like a building made of founded or given sticks, and it goes from the ground to the ceiling, which is higher than here, around 8 meters. So some drawings in a smaller room. Okay. This was the show, solo show from Ziad Antar, an artist from Lebanon, and it is an artist that I wanted to invite, and it was also someone who was very close from Jan Kopp, so we decided together to invite him. And it was he's a photographer and also he makes video, and we decided to only show the video for that show. And it was a kind of system where video were playing one after the other. So the silent video were playing all the time, and the sound one were playing when one stopped, one other starts. That's why it was possible to have all the video together. And also, as I told you, that for me it's important to like a dialogue between art, contemporary art, and the other field of creation. And during that, we organized an event that we called Green Clashes, more or less one per month. And for that, I am asking, of course, to the associate artist to co-program it with me, but also to the artist, for example, Ziad Antar. And when I asked to Ziad Antar if he wanted to invite someone, he was really happy because he decided to invite one of his very good friends, and also very good musician in a very Charbel Haber, a young musician from the Beirut musical scene, and who is doing punk, but also like traditional music, like more experimental music. He is a very complete one. And the day, one day before the opening, he gave a kind of concert, and it works very well. Of course, there is a deep relationship between the Yad Antar and Charbel Haber, and it worked very well. Maybe not directly. It means that it was not the idea that the work were playing the one with other, but one of the video, maybe you have seen of the images. Charbel is also one actor of one video from the Yad Antar, and but also because they are sharing lots of things, and you could fit something, and also that's for me like maybe the dream or the utopia of Gesamtwerk. This was another lecture about the group of artists Suspended Spaces. This is a group of artists Jan Kopp is working with, so they are presented their works. They are working both as artists and as curator, and they are making different projects, or in Chypre, or also they are working in Lebanon. So it was one thing they have presented. And this is Les Horizons, the collective show that we have curated together with Jan Kopp. And I also show you like the specific graphic design from Lacrier, which some people don't like, but which is okay, very special, so very recognizable. So, this was the sculpture from Larissa Fassler, German artist, and Blaise Raymond, Irish artist, the painting. There you are works by Scully Acosta, by Taïsia Bakniji, by Julien Berthier. The general view of the exhibition. You can see the place. And there was also a video from, we have also a very practical, comfortable video room, and it was on display video from Francis Alice. Okay, that was another event that we organized with the Frères Poulain. They were part of the collective show, and they are also artists working in hand. That's another example of Green Flashes events. We do invite a French poet who was in residence in Rennes for several months. And therefore we work with, he decided to work with some students from the national theatres from Brittany, TNB, and which is a very important theatre in France. And so, again, the idea of mixing different fields of creation. And this was something that Jan Kopp, so the associate artist, has invited Emmanuel Wynne. Emmanuel Wynne is an important dancer and choreographer working in France since the end of the 90s. And Jan Kopp and Emmanuel Wynne have met each other since 20 years very often, and they do have interest in the works of each other, but they never had the opportunity to work together. So, at the occasion of Greenflash, they decide to perform this various meeting. So it was very interesting because they wanted to have this artistic meeting since a long time, and also they experiment the fact that one central point in both of their works was the idea of how to occupy the space. And also what was important to me, and also it is related to the experimental dimension of the art center, is that this kind of events, it was not a simple lectures, it was not a show like choreography and things like that, but it was in between, and it gave us really lots of clue to understand both the works of Jan Kopp and Emmanuel Wynne, and it was also a very, very important experimental and artistic moment. These are some images, and they were playing with the exhibition. That's important to notice in that way of occupy the space. And they were playing with the public as well. And although at the end of the last exhibition of the Running the Street year was an exhibition of the Argentinian artist based in London, Amalia Pica. And also for this exhibition, everything was a new production. Amalia, she worked with this exhibition gave us the occasion to go further from one of his main interests. It is a formal and political exploration of mathematical set theory. Pica's work suggests system of exchange, transmission and reception of information, at the same time as they offer a fresh reading of the avant-garde and abstraction. The issue of communication is one core concern for an artist committed to exploring its system and mode of functioning. And so she totally played with the place, where you can see the fluorescent orange plexiglass at the bottom. It is our medium space, the one that is very often, as I told you, used for video. But she just closed the space and put this kind of this big orange plexi, and so it totally changed it, and our relationship also to the idea of deepness. And the work, in one thing after another, he is trying to create a language mixing the consonant, the syllab, as well with some shape, geometrical shape. And it has been made in sculptures, as you can see. And there was also in the other part of the room that she has, the main room that she has closed, but only you can see there was also like a little blue plexical window. She has presented a film around this project, which was presented in another way in Museo Tamayo. And from that project in Museo Tamayo, she made a film with Rafael Ortega, and this film was on display, and the sculptures are based on the figures that the performer were doing during the exhibition in Museo Tamayo. Another view of the exhibition. And another performance, Green Flashes, would take place in the street because we were well in the street, so lots of events were taking place also in the street. With the French artist Hector et Dupuis, Michel Hector and Michel Dupuis. So it was a walk through the city. And also, as Jan Kopp is very well connected with the dance art scene, French dance art scene, we end the year with the last events, was also implemented in one of the most crowded and central streets of Rennes, and by the choreographer Fanny de Chaillet. And this is a performative, participative performance called La Course de Lenteur, and the public is, the idea is, and the winner is the losers. Is him, the one who will give, is the one who will go the less speed as possible. So it was really, it was part it was related to a street outside festival that we have in Rennes, because we try, of course, to work in collaboration with other cultural events. Okay. Hello. I don't know if you want or I can continue to show you some images of the second season. It means beating the bushes, or I can tell you more about other things that we are doing at La Criée, and I would like also to show you a short movie by the associate artist from Breaking the Wave. So I don't think that we will have time for everything. So I would like ask you what do you prefer if you
can show some more pictures and video.
Okay. So just tell me when you are tired with images of the program. So then the second season of this 3 years program was Battre la campagne, Beating Butchers. The associate artist was the French artist and writer and theater, how do we say, theater directors, Yves Chaudouet. And so for this year we were very often connected with people in the field of theater, but we do start the year with the exhibition of Canadian artist named Gareth Moore, and this exhibition was part of Biennale de Rennes, which is a contemporary art biennale taking place each 2 years between September and November. So this exhibition was not directly related to the Beating Butchers season, but as Amelia Picard was not directly related to the topics of running the streets, those topics are made to be not automatically followed. So this is some view from this beautiful, very spiritual exhibition. Through his work, Garasmore questioned and reconstitutes a statue of found material and object, seeking to acknowledge the margin of authorship within the production of a work of art. His work dislodged the distinction between art and everyday activity, creating sculptural narratives, here we are, that are enacted materially and socially. Employing a powerful economy of means, Garasmore extends the capacity of value and meaning within objects that are otherwise discrete, reflecting an interest in the recovery of that which goes discarded or unnoticed. So, some view of the exhibition. You often see children in the images, because I may not tell you about that, but we have a very important activity in the field of transmission and mediation. Not only with children, but a large part. It's at the bottom of the exhibition, behind the white wall and the little temple that you have seen. It was like the back of the shop. This is one of our events. It is like Alain Michard is a French choreographer, but there he was making a conference about his relationship to some very important artists of the 20th century to him. So still, again, this is a mix. This is at the junction. She's a choreographer and dancer, and is telling us is a private history, art history. I've done the same. I also asked to Garasmore if he wanted to invite someone. I always do that, and in the context of his exhibition, and he decided to invite the musician, the experimental French musician Guédalia Tazartes. So it was this again. It was really there was lots of connection between the experimental and pure, and also spiritual dimension of Guédalia Tazartes' music with the works of Garasmore. This was a collective show that we made with, together with Yves Chaudouet. This is a wall drawing by the painter and graphic designer Paul Cox. This is photography from the French photographer Olivier Roller. And the idea for this exhibition, Yves Chaudouet has lots of interest for the margin, so the artists that we have invited are not only artists or artists and something else. Like Olivier Roller, he started with to be a press photographer, for example. And the display of the exhibitions at kind of open world were designed by Yves Chaudouet. He was the scenographer of the exhibition, and he also built the kind of entrance to the exhibition. This is a work of the French artist Cécile de Castagnac. Another view of the exhibition. And we also, this is one other example of a partnership that we have with a festival for experimental music in Rennes, and they asked us if it was possible to organize a day of the festival in our place, and we said yes, and the place, for example, plays from some pieces from John Cage and other artists. And one other important scene we've made with Yves Chaudouet, and it is coming to the point of the idea to mix a different field of the knowledge, is we work together to organize study days by artists. I mean, it is very important that in France, I don't know how it is here, but if you're not like a true researcher, you're suspect to the university, and the question of the research in art, related also to the Bologne things, is very, very important nowadays. So it was also a kind of answer to us to say that, okay, you can be, the research in art is something specific, and to ask an artist to organize like a university colloque, because those days took place in one of the big one in Rennes 1, which is the science university of Rennes, a very big one of the biggest in France. And the idea was really to draw a parallel and to put out the fact that research can be done in different ways. So the theme of the day was La Racine. It was taken from Barnett Newman, who said that the heart is not only the flower of the society, but it is its roots. So we invited like artist, art historian, like a jurist also, and also like a scientist. This guy was specialist of, how do you say that, vers de terre? Storms. Worms, thank you. It was great, and we also had a specialist of spiders. This is a spider. And this is a very interesting way to work, and the scientists in the field of what we call art science are very open to that. And for example, following those days that we organized, I was contacted by some scientists from the University of Rennes 1, asking me if I think that an artist could be interested to participate in the project to be part of satellite program. So of course I guess that there is really a meeting between the imagination of the artist and the way in which the scientists in a way need it in order to explore new way of researching things. Okay, this was the exhibition of Yves Chaudouet. For his solo exhibition, he has imagined a very big table, round table, and this table was so big that she couldn't be only in the art center, so two parts were in the countryside, and this was in a little town 10 kilometers in the north of Rennes, in the space where there is also a theater. Okay, that's the table. And all around were painting by Yves Chaudouet, which is also a painter. And this was the third part of the table. Other events that we organize, maybe go during 1 week, Yves has proposed with this theatre company called Morphologie des éléments, a kind of everyday events and performance, and from time to time, you never knew when, some actors of his company were reading on playing texts or texts from Yves Chaudouet, which is who is also a writer, or texts that are very important to Yves, or texts that are very important to the actors, to the. And this is one of the results of a workshop made by Yves and his theatre company with students. And this is the last exhibition of last year by the solo show by the young Swiss artist Jérémy Gindre. Jérémy, who is also a writer. So, and he also has text painting. Okay. And this year for Breaking the Wave, we are working with the French cineast and artist Ariane Michel, and she has developed a very big project. This summer she has organized a show on the shore in the very far west of Barényi, Cap Sizun, and with more than 20 artists, mostly a friend of her. And the idea of the show was the artists have most of them have give or built pieces, work of art, especially for the occasion, and it was like through le long, among maybe 3 or 4 kilometers pass through the coast and the sea. And these rocks then have been there for 4 months, 5 months, and most of them have been destroyed by the sea, by the wind, by the nature, we can say. And as the question of nature is really central in the work of Ariane Michel, the idea with this exhibition was to film artists and works of arts in the same level as the wind, the sea, the birds, the seabirds, and so and so. Ariane liked to say that she liked to film from the point of view of a stone, for example. So now she's still filming, almost finished, and the film of this exhibition will be shown at the new pieces as important new pieces, and will be shown in next spring at Caplan, at the main piece of her solo show. I propose to show you, and maybe to end with that, one of her previous movies. It is about 10 minutes. I don't know if there are any sound. 30 Minutes, 2005, and the title is On the Rest. That's a film that she has made. She was part of a scientist expedition on a sailing boat, on a very special sailing boat named Le Tara, which go to the North Pole. I don't know if you can hear something. The sound is important, but we can be better than that. So the idea was with this film, which could be sometimes a little bit boring, is that if you enter it, the idea that you are becoming one of these beasts, and so as one of these, I don't know what the English word for that elephant mare. You will see us. So you will be forced to be very slow. So, okay. Thank you very much. I don't know if you have some questions.
Thank you very much. It was Sophie Kaplan. I have one question.
Yes.
I would like to ask you, because if we have this table here, and you ask artists to sit here, and philosopher, writer, poet, scientist, musician, and theater director or movie director, you let them work on a project. But then when you want to transform this cooperation to gallery space, tell us your secret, because you are a curator. So how you influence the outcome of this cooperation of such a group will result to good exhibition?
My first influence, I think, is to invite them. So I am putting them together, and I think that I am choosing them, not by hazard. And also, even if I am doing that most part of the time with artists. And I think that, for example, having implemented that 3 years program, those names like running the street or beating the beaches or breaking the wave give a kind of context to be understood by the invited people, or metaphorically or literally. But I think this is helping, this is putting them in a special state of mind, and I think that this is one of my actions. And of course, the other one is to, for example, for that study days for imagining by Yves Chaudouet, with artists and so and so. This was my idea to. We had lots of discussion about the question of research in art, and my idea was to propose him to implement what he thought. And then we do that together. We have chosen the scientists and so on together. We are doing I am doing lots of things in collaboration, because or with artists, or with other curators, or with other director of cultural institution, because to me, the idea of collaboration is important.
Thank you very much. You told me today that you are very focused to education programs.
Yeah.
Can you tell us shortly
something
important about your education program?
I had planned to speak more in details about that, but if something is important to have in mind concerning the education program that we are doing, it is the same thing that I told you. It is that in this program we try to give the artist a central place. It means, for example, when we make often residency or in hospital or in school of art, and this residency we invite, in general, there are young artists from the local art scene, and we work them for 1 year, and the idea is that they're working in that outseat program. They're doing both pedagogical works, transmission works, but they're there was also part of this residency which is dedicated to production. It means that this is both a transmission and a creation program. That's the things to remember that we want. We don't want the education program to be cut from the curatorial or from the creation program.
Thank you very much. Are there some questions?
In your area?
Artist what residency?
Artistic residencies?
Yeah. We make like just for you as part of our curatorial program of educational program. There is this residency, but they are more dedicated to local artists, and this is more simple to organize. And it is also for us a way to support local scene. Also, and because as you may have noticed, most of our exhibitions are from international art scene, but it is important to support young local art scene, and we are doing it in this way. But of course, for example, if once I find a local artist that I would think he is very or she is very interesting, I will have the possibility to invite him or her for a solo show or to be part of a collective show. That's something that often happens. And as for residency, we don't have a real residency program. We have residency program related all to this associate artist, but it is concerning only one artist per year, and is coming very regularly, but for short period, 1 or 2 weeks, but maybe 10 times a year. And we also have, from time to time, I didn't spoke about that, but we also have like a European program, sometimes supported by European funds. And in the frame of this European program, we made like cross-exchange residency programs. For example, previously we just, not just ended, but we ended last year a program called Act Democracy, Act like our cooperation transmission, and in the field of that program we work with School of Art and artists and places, art places in Eindhoven, in the Netherlands, in Cluj in Romania, and also with Belgrade in Serbia. And so we make a long time. It was a 2 years program. So that's the kind of thing we are making.
Thank you very much, Sophie. Thank you for coming.